Ready?
So you guys officially signed Abu Yarma today.
Yeah.
Can you just tell us a little bit about what your excitement is to bring him in?
I'm excited about this entire class, all the new faces, and but Abu is, it's just an interesting process. We had seen Abu a lot just because he was teammates with Eli Ellis, and then in this last year, Hayden and Simeon were all on the same team, and so Abu was already signed at High Point, and just got a chance to see him play a bunch. Obviously not thinking too much about it, but then when they had a coaching change and he decided that he was going to open his recruiting back up, and we had some availability and need for a guy who's got good size and skill, and he's a tremendous young man and incredibly appreciative of the opportunity that he has in front of him. So just my kind of guy.
I remember when you said after Michi left last year that there was no bad blood, probably at his wedding.
Did you believe me? You probably
50-50.
did. You didn't believe me.
But can you take us through how it came to be that he's coming back to Columbia?
It's 2025. And it's just things are different. Kids have a lot of, I call them kids, but they have a lot of options. They're trying to figure things out, and I just have had a relationship with his entire family. Michi probably called me a few times when he first got to Ohio State. It had nothing to do with anything other than he just wanted to check in with me. And so we've had a good relationship, and obviously the basketball was good for him here. I was telling him during the recruitment that he needs our fans and our fans need him. It was a unique relationship that he had with our fan base, and it was a really good one. And he thrived and fed off of that. And so when he decided that he was going to look at going somewhere else, I don't know that some of his family members thought he had to look too far at all. But again, it's 2025, so we had to re-recruit him again. And but obviously we had a good relationship, and we're excited about him coming back and being able to help lead.
I was gonna say, I guess at this stage and age, burning bridges, you just can't do it because you just never know when it'll come back around.
Yeah, I don't think it's something you can do. I think it's. I've never really done that anyway. You just can't get mad when someone makes a decision that they think at the time is the best decision for themselves. It may not make sense to you. I'd heard stories before, even years ago, that a kid chooses another school and then they got chewed out and they're cussed out by the coach that didn't get them. We're grown-ups. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And but certainly in today's day and age, you can't burn bridges. You never know when it may come back around again.
Speaking of new faces, more so in the portal, was there one thing you and your staff was looking for, maybe in particular, scoring size? Because there was something that y'all were kind of looking for in the portal?
Yeah, skill, feel for the game. Those are two areas that I wanted to concentrate on. Experience. I think if you look at the guys that we brought in, we're probably a little closer in terms of experience and total games of number of starts on our entire roster that we were 2 seasons ago. And so I just thought those were important things for us. And again, skill. We had a very skilled passing team 2 seasons ago, and that served us really well. We were not as accomplished in that area, and just for me and my DNA, that's always an important thing for me. And so we wanted to get back to a little more feel and skill, and then also combine that with some good experience.
Given how crazy things seem to have been this pool cycle, things that you've said in other interviews and things that have been out there.
Yeah.
What's your, overall assessment of the portal in 2025? How do you feel like you guys navigated some of those challenges?
I think we did as well as we could. I think we did a really good job with making pivots when you had to make pivots, and that's just, you have to adapt. And so I thought we did a really good job in some situations where it looked like one thing was going to happen, something else happened, and that's happening more now than ever before. You know, it used to be we thought we were going to get a commitment from this kid, and then you lose it in the 11th hour to someone else. You kind of sort of thought you were going to get it done, but it didn't, and then you have to pivot. Now it's like you get a commitment. I don't know if that's a word that we should call it anymore, but this thing happens to where you're in an agreement of what's going to happen, and then that changes 3 weeks later. Right? And you've been counting on something for 3 full weeks, and then you have to pivot. So I think we've done a really good job of turning the page, getting on to the next, gathering information quickly, developing relationships with the people that you can as quickly as you can, and then assessing. I think it's constant assessment of what you have, what you need, what you might potentially need. And then we did all that again with Colin Murray-Boyles out there too, and it's like, okay, here's a player you can take, but if Colin comes back, that doesn't really work, those two together, but he's a really good player. If Colin doesn't come back, he's the perfect fit for us. Do you roll the dice on that and hope that Colin doesn't come back? Or, but you know, at the end of the day, we also wanted to provide an environment that when and if Colin Murray-Boyles decides he wants to come back here, that we would welcome him with open arms. I'm rooting for him to get everything he wants out of this draft process, the information that he wants. But certainly if he decides that the future involves coming back to Columbia, we would be ecstatic about that, and we've put the pieces in to surround him in an environment where he could be extremely, extremely successful.
Is that why there's still an open roster spot? You leaving the door open for possible return?
Yeah, I'm definitely leaving the door open for a possible return, and I know that is unlikely just based on feedback that we've gotten in terms of his. I think he is a viable first-round draft pick almost any way you slice it. But some guys want to be selected in a certain area. They want to be in the lottery maybe, or so we're leaving the door open for him to gather all that information, try to talk with the people that he needs to talk with, get some real feedback, honest feedback, and then make his decision based on that. But if he wants to come back, there was no way I was ever going to try to construct a team where there wasn't a place for Colin Murray-Boyles to come back if he was. You want to talk about DNA of a player and syncing up with the DNA of the coach in terms of just who he is as an everyday guy, as an everyday defender, as an everyday teammate. So there was no chance we were going to build the team in a way that if he decided he wanted to come back, that we couldn't make that happen.
Any thought, since we're here in Charleston, playing the Citadel College Charleston?
CSU.
CSU.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Bringing
Sure, we'll think about it.
What is the stop 2 of y'all's welcome home tour?
This is one for me.
One for you.
This is
Okay.
number one for me.
So kicking things off, what are you looking forward to tonight?
I don't know, just the energy down here, and you know, we're in Columbia every day, which is a great place, but we don't get out to many other parts of the state as much as we would like to, and so here's an opportunity for us to do it, and so I'm just looking forward to the energy and bumping into some people that don't get to see us that much, but see us from time to time, and just the overall energy.
bringing Cam Scott back, you know, he enters the portal and then he's come back to you guys. How did that kind of all?
2025.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, it is.
Yeah. Cam's is a great young man. And he's got a really bright future. He does. Everyone grows at a different rate. I've tried to tell all the guys that we have on our team, particularly the young guys. And so there was some exploration as to what might be there. And again, it wasn't like, I think if you have those situations and then someone goes to the portal and then you show your true colors maybe, and it just turns out poorly, that you don't have the opportunity for something like this to happen for him to come back. He's a a really good young man. He's a local guy, and I'm looking forward to really trying to help him grow his game to where he can contribute in a way that really helps us win basketball games.
With Colin, do you have a regular line of communication with him, or do you just kind of let him do his thing?
We communicate with him. I mean, I'm probably due to call him. That was probably on my to-do list today or tomorrow. But I also kind of let him do his thing. I don't want to be perceived as trying to influence him in his decision. I had a talk with him and with his family, but I had a talk with him at the end of the season, and I just try to assure him that as long as he does what he really wants to do, what Colin Murray Boyles really wants to do, it can't turn out poorly. He can't make a bad decision. So I'm here to just support him and not try to answer your question. I don't want to be perceived by him or anyone as trying to discourage him from going to the NBA or encourage him to come back. It's just, that's not my role. I told him there's a solar system that's around him, and he is the sun in that solar system, and I'm in orbit around him, not the other way around. And so anything I can do to help him with his decision is what my role is, and I'm looking forward to do that.
You mentioned the word commitment a couple times, but can you kind of shed some light on what happened with Trayson? I mean, did he sign? Like, how does that happen? Do people get in his ear?
Well, here's what happens, and this I don't know, atmosphere has been created, and not by these young men, but you make a decision on where you want to go, and that decision used to be solely based on factors that involved your relationship with the coaching staff, your basketball opportunity, a host of other factors that didn't involve something that could be outbid, so to speak. But now money is also a factor, and I don't begrudge that from any of these guys. But money is a factor, and one thing someone can do if you decide to go to a school and you say, hey, I feel like I connect with these coaches better than this other school, and so I make my decision based on that. What the other school can't say is, hey, we're going to have a better relationship now. If you make your decision based on basketball opportunity, and you make a calculated decision because this school A, has a better basketball decision for me. School B can't come back in 3 weeks and say, I got a better basketball situation for you, all of a sudden. There are most factors you cannot do that with. One factor you can do that with is money. You can have more money and bolster your offer in that way. And I think that's happening, unfortunately, in the environment that's been created. And so it's making some kids re-evaluate decisions that they made under all the right circumstances. They leaned on the people that they trust. They were of sound mind when they made these. They visited, they contemplated other offers, they had conversations with other people. They did all the things that you would do to say, I've mitigated as much risk as I possibly can, and those are the circumstances under which you make a decision. And then, in a short amount of time, there's only one thing that changes in that equation, and sometimes it's money. And so then minds get changed because of that. So I don't love that that's what it is. It's not my role to change that. Not in the short term anyway. You have to just adapt. You just have to adapt. There's, no hard feelings. You got to move forward. You can cry over spilt milk, but you just got to move forward and try to make the moves that you need to do to put a team together that you like. And I really like this group.
One more question, guys, if you have it.
How in the summer you have to replace so much of the team? I think you guys only have 3 returners, right? Mm-hmm. So how do you try? Do you try to in terms of meshing? Do you try to get involved in that, or is that something you try to just have happen organically amongst the players?
I think if you have an older group, it can happen a little more organically. But when you're talking about the volume of new faces, I do think you have to be intentional to some degree with trying to set up some situations or circumstances in which they're going to have conversations or do things that are different than just basketball things. And so we'll, over the summer, we'll do some things to try to expedite that gelling and meshing, but having some familiar faces back, and we're in a unique situation in that you get a Michi Johnson back who's new again, but he's been here and he's familiar with us. You know, we were blessed with the decision from the NCAA and with the doctors to get Miles Studi back for another year. You know, if you want to, there's no better example of a decision that was the right decision. And I thought that going into it, but then when I had a conversation with him and I heard his voice when I told him that he was going to get the year back, it was like, wow, what a right decision that they made by this. This guy's incredibly appreciative. So it's another guy. So just another face that is familiar with what we're doing that can help expedite that process.
Coach,
Thanks, guys.